Hi, this is John Florian from VoiceOverXtra, welcoming you to what I know is going to be a very fascinating discussion with Jennifer Kanari, who's a voice actor based in, well, she's one of her bases is Nairobi in Canada and Kenya. And she's also co-founder of the relatively new Voice Actors League of Africa. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
It's so nice
It's a
to
pleasure
finally
to be
catch
here.
it's so nice to finally catch up with you on Zoom. And we're going to learn a lot from you today, including about your voice acting career, about voice acting in Africa, and also the Voice Actors League of Africa and how it's already helping voice actors there. Sound all right?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay. Now, Bates, we were just discussing something that you are in Nairobi now, but you perform voiceovers elsewhere too. Tell us about that.
Yes. So currently in the season of my life that I'm in, I'm a grandmother now. And so I spend a
Oh,
lot of time.
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. And so some of my favorite people are my grandchildren and my parents, and they live in different parts of the country. But one of the things voiceover has enabled me to do is be very, very flexible. And so I can spend time with my grandchildren at the coast, a place called Malindi. Hot, beautiful, sounds a little bit like Florida. And then I can spend time in Nairobi, central highlands of Kenya with my parents. So when we spoke last, John, I was in Malindi, where the internet is bad. The weather's amazing. It's like I'm on holiday there. But then the internet and the lighting and all of that wasn't working for us. So now I'm in Nairobi, capital city. This is where business happens. So this was possible now.
Oh, it's very nice. How long have you been a voice actor, and what got you into it?
I've been doing voiceover since early 2000s. I bumped into it like many of us do. I didn't have a clue what was voiceover. And then I heard someone recording a bank ad. I used to sing a lot. And so I would spend some
Oh.
time in this studio. And in the same studio, some guy was talking about a bank. And I thought, what are you guys doing? And they said, this is where we record adverts. And of course, my innocence was shattered. What? It's fake. But then that's what introduced me to that whole world. And so I said, can I give it a shot? And that's where it started. And I was in and out of it as a young mom, homeschooling my children. So between 2002 all the way to pretty much 2013 until I discovered the international voiceover waters.
Hmm.
I was dabbling in and out of doing commercials. One of my biggest jobs was voicing the largest telephone company, IVR, the Siri type of Kenya. That made me pretty famous. And it paid really well. And then I found out about Voice 123 and
Hmm.
voices.com. That was my
Hmm.
introduction to the
Hmm.
international voiceover market. And then I found Fiverr, and then I found Upwork, and then I found um, other international coaches who taught us how to cold call, all these things. And so I began to do it. And by then, and I may be jumping into the next question about VALA, we had begun as can I go straight into
No,
it?
no, no, no. Wait a minute. What genres do you focus on yourself right now?
Personally, well, narrations call me for some reason. I think my clientele like my empathetic voice, and so I tend
Hmm.
to get more work in the medical or health, healthcare type
Hmm. Hmm.
narrations and stories and e-learning.
Hmm.
So that's where I get the bulk of my work.
Hmm.
That's actually what my winning. I don't know if you know, I won the international award last year, the VO, um, the One Voice USA.
Yeah,
Chance,
yeah, yeah.
I just put in it was an amazing job that I did.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
loved the way I sounded. And so
Hmm.
they were offering entries for free,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Sometimes it's quite expensive. And so I put it in there and it won. So they liked it as much as I liked it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Hmm. So.
Very nice. How about voice acting in general in Africa? There, it's got to be tremendously challenging with the language situation. Or is it mostly in English? Or just could you give me a general description of voice
Oh,
acting in Africa?
so there's the local voice acting in every country in our own languages. So there's a lot of voiceover work, especially since the digital explosion. So after COVID, a lot of what used to be on broadcast TV and radio became digitized radio stations
Hmm.
in the different languages that we have. We have 42 languages, and most of them have their own radio station. And so they need radio imaging,
Right.
online TV imaging, they're
Hmm.
telling stories, and of course, commercials as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
But so those people who speak well their languages get work there. Swahili is huge just within Kenya, for example.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of voiceover work in the national language. We have two national languages, English and Swahili.
Hmm.
And so a lot of work, even for schools, educational work, a lot of interpretation from English to Swahili and
Hmm.
back.
Hmm.
So people are getting a lot of work in Swahili as well.
Hmm. You,
And
you,
also,
I
mhm,
would call you then an international voice actor.
yes, yes,
That's your description, I would say.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I
Okay.
do like to use that term, African international voiceover actor.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Most voice actors in Africa uh, also work internationally, or are they mostly locally based in their own language?
We have both. In fact, with the organization that we started, the Voice Actors League of Kenya, up until mid last year, that was part of what we were finding is a lot of people were doing very, very well with just local work.
Hmm.
They had no idea the international market existed
Mm,
until
hmm.
until they bumped into us.
Hmm.
And so they were acing it, doing documentaries and infomercials for their clientele, telephone on hold
Hmm.
productions,
Right.
all locally and
Hmm.
in mostly English and Swahili.
Hmm.
So then when they join the organization, we show them now how to cast their nets further afield and learn how to interact with the international market.
Hmm. Okay,
And
I know
so,
you want to jump into how you help people. Well, but one more question. How do people learn about voice acting? I mean, okay, once you know you want to become a voice actor, where do they get coaching for that? In
hmm,
Kenya or Africa?
it's been ad hoc. Most of the people I interact with are self-taught. They've learned over time, especially people who've had a radio presenter
Hmm.
type
Hmm.
background.
Hmm. Hmm.
They learn on the job projection and it
Hmm.
be, how to sound expressive. And so that's pretty much people who are well raised or they had that kind of educational background. So I think I was probably the first voiceover coach that I heard of when I
Oh.
began to offer my services. Yeah. And even then, I've only ever heard of one other person who's offering voiceover coaching specifically in Kenya.
Hmm.
Um, and then, of course, once we got in touch or began to explore the international waters, we found Bill DeWeese and Mark Cashman and Anganguza who offer these courses online.
Hmm.
And I know I've paid to learn from them, and I encourage people to do the same.
Hmm.
But yeah, there are huge coaching um, institutions in Nigeria. Voiceover coaching in Nigeria is much more advanced than it is here in Kenya.
Ah.
Yeah, and so just to give you a continental idea,
Right.
I think there are three schools in Nigeria that offer certificate courses, and it's pretty much all round. You learn technique, audio technique, production technique, vocal technique for all the different genres. Negotiation skills. They've just come up with a rate card because rates are a mess in Africa all
Oh.
over.
Hmm.
Yeah, so now we're beginning to push back because we've developed rate cards. And we borrow a lot from, of course, the international rate cards that we find, but also what was existing before.
Hmm.
So we found a kind of middle ground that producers and agencies and clients are happy to begin to be comfortable with. Yes, I
Really?
get paid to
Hmm.
talk. You know, that
Sure.
conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no union there? A union?
No,
Hmm.
no, we're working on that. And
Hmm.
in many ways, the organization that we've developed now acts like a union
Oh.
because it presents a structured body. You know, if people then say, so the organization is called the Voice Actors League of Africa. It's a big name.
Hmm.
And so when a talent says, no, I'm bringing the Voice Actors League of Africa rates to you, people pay attention.
Very good.
And when they have issues, perhaps with time payment, you know, the timeliness of payments
Hmm.
or no payments or disagreements in any way, we become the third party
So you
that
help.
they can
You
refer
help
to. Yeah,
negotiate something or you get involved?
yes,
Hmm.
exactly. So I think we act as a union, even though
Yeah.
we're not unionized in
Yeah.
terms of,
Yeah.
yeah, the official
What
registration
got
and
you?
all.
Okay, now back a few years ago, the Voice Actor League of Kenya began. How did that start and how did that come about?
Right. So I was a casting agent by default because after I got into voiceover acting, I roped my children in because I was homeschooling and they'd come with me. And then they began to get jobs for children because they were available as
Hmm.
homeschoolers and they were free and they had a great time. And so they started making more money than me at some point. So I needed to manage that and negotiate better rates because for some children, for some reason, children were paid less because they were smaller. And I was like,
Yeah.
no. In
Yeah.
fact, you should pay them more because the final production is just has more appeal because of the
Hmm.
child.
Hmm.
And they brought 100% to the game. And so we began to, I registered a business to start to manage them.
Hmm.
And then people would call, adults would call and say, hey, we see what you do. Can you manage us? And so I began to get people on my roster and start charging to manage them and began to interact with other casting agents. And we all had the same problems. Our people weren't trained, our people didn't understand what to do. We needed to earn our 20% commission. And so we began to talk about that. But also, there was no rate card structure. And so we got together under a tree, and a portion of us, a number of us, because I stopped working with TV. I was doing casting and management for TV
Hmm.
models and
Hmm.
voiceover. And my heart would just keep getting broken with TV because they paid so badly and treated them so badly. And so all my client, everyone on my roster was blacklisted because I kept fighting for more rates.
Oh
And
my. Wow.
I felt I was doing them a disservice and told them that they needed to be free and I was going to go fight the fight without affecting them. But voiceover, because I was doing it, I was able now to begin to champion for VO. And me and the other voice acting agents created the Voice Actors League of Kenya, primarily to create a panic room space,
Hmm.
a place where people could talk about issues, know that they're not alone,
Hmm. Hmm.
and definitely start to educate them about the rates. Because we were our own enemy. If I quote $100 and you're quoting 50 constantly, they're gonna not understand value.
Sure.
So yeah, and so that became the main reason. Come and join us if you don't speak one language, especially regarding the rates and the treatment,
Hmm.
because that was where most people were having issues. And so that was in 2013. And we started maybe 50 of us. Each of the casting agents had some talent under their hat. within their docket. And now we're approaching 400 people,
This
though we have
is
a follow.
now because of the new organization. Why did you, okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no. Good question. So we were the Voice Actors League of Kenya
Yeah,
until July of last year.
yeah.
And as
2024. Yeah.
2024,
Hmm.
as we were growing, we were I was making connections with Nigeria. Like I mentioned, they have a very robust voiceover industry.
Hmm.
And I was very inspired with how they did things. And they were hosting the voiceover conferences for the continent, doing
Oh.
what I was doing on a much larger scale and building bridges with production houses in America with Sylvas. That's how I met Mark Cashman at all.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of the international voiceover coaches and voiceover producers. And so I invited some of them to join our WhatsApp group, and they liked it. And they said, wow, this is different from what we do in Nigeria. Can we join?
Hmm.
Because we're very community based. We're kind of the model I like is to not micromanage. The vision of the Voice Actors League of Africa, formerly the Voice Actors League of Kenya, is to develop independent freelance voiceover artists who can manage their own business successfully. And that's pretty much what I want to do. So we're an educational
I see.
organization,
Right.
and networking, resources, and opportunities when they come our way, but we're not a talent management agency per se.
One of your slogans on your website is you're a catalyst for success.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
And so we had a lot of Nigerians join us. We had Ugandans join us. I work with some Somali talent who live in Kenya, but they get a lot of localization work. So they joined us. Ethiopians speaking Amharic joined us. So we were no longer just Kenya. So
Hmm.
that's why I felt
Right.
our name was no longer representing the member base that we had.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so we have a focus group that helps direct the organization. We had a discussion and we said, let's do it. Let's call ourselves the Voice Actors League of Africa and grow into it.
Very
So
nice.
that's
Very
mhm.
nice. Now, what I'm going to like to do, I'm going to share my screen and go to your website, and maybe perhaps you can walk us through this. Now, you explained to me it's a developing website, but this helps to kind of show us what you're into.
Okay.
I hope I don't lose everything right here. And now I shall. Here we are, folks. Hang on, everybody. Oh, here we are. It was up here. Here we are. Okay. Now, tell me where to go in your site. I love the graphics you've got here. It's very, 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 very exciting and just kind of a welcoming.
It is warm and representative of the heart of Africa and
Mm-hmm.
a microphone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Now,
Mm-hmm.
tell me what to hit and so you can explain things.
We can actually go in order. So yeah,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
that's on, first page. We try to make it very easy to learn about us
Mm-hmm.
and see what we're about.
Mm-hmm.
So it is about learning. It's an educational organization.
If I
And
click
a
here,
large, yes,
okay,
yes.
I know you're developing, so some pages may or may not be available. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And let's
yeah.
see if something shows up, perhaps on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how fast we're going to be able to get something.
It's all pretty much under, if you go back to where you were. So this
Yep.
is what we're building on. Yeah,
Okay.
down there.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
So these are the dockets. We're actually in the process of training article writers because we've learned that a large part of, go figure, a large part of the internet,
Hmm.
you get noticed, the whole search engine optimization is when you write. And so we were advised by the person who's helping us develop the website
Mm-hmm.
to start blogging. And
Hmm.
so he trained us to write these articles on how to get ahead in your voice acting career
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Africa. So we're going to have those under the learning docket. We're going to have resources that include contracts, invoices, AI, writers, getting more and more important for us to talk about, even in Africa. And then, of course, our workshops. We hold a monthly online, virtual workshop every month,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the various things. And we strive to let it be driven by what the membership is asking for or where they're weakest. And so that's every month.
What are
We'll
some of
put
the
the
topics that you've covered recently?
um, negotiation skills for
Ah.
one,
Mm-hmm.
which covers rates and making sure you've got everything in writing, and being flexible. International versus local, broadcast versus
Right.
non-broadcast. That language was a big one. We kind of roll that over quite often. We talk about vocal technique for sure, because a lot of us still do the voiceover announcer, and I'm like, that's not going to fly in the
Mm.
international waters. Let's learn how to be more conversational. What does that mean?
Yes.
Tap, relax. So vocal technique is a big one, and also where to find international work,
Mm.
and which incorporates marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So using your social media platforms and your email to find more clients and to nurture the clients that you have. So that's a big part. Last year, we also started talking about investments. How do you invest your money so that you
Ah.
grow the
Mm-hmm.
money? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because that's huge. A lot of us are still working hand to mouth with your
Hmm.
voiceover. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
And
universal. That's internationally. We
is
all
it
are. Yeah. Right.
really? Well, we see a lot of what we see online. People come and say, hey, we see that people are making six figures.
Oh, yeah, right. A lot of that it
And
could be some marketing,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we kind of have to give them a reality check. You can grow
Mm-hmm.
into it,
Yeah.
but you could also make six figures by being a little smarter with the
Mm-hmm.
money that you do make, and let it
Mm-hmm.
grow for you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So we've last year developed a mentorship program
Oh. Mm-hmm.
to work with our members more
Mm-hmm.
closely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be on here as well.
Oh, good.
And so, yeah, so as you can see, it's really, really very raw. Um, but it has a lot of potential.
Oh, very nice. Now here's a page here.
Yes.
Are these are members, I would assume.
Yes, I'm right there in the middle in the horn, as you can see.
Sure,
Yep.
here we are. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those fellows is Nigeria, guy with the glasses,
Uh-huh.
and the lady in South Africa is from Nigeria at the very bottom. And these are pioneer VALA members. We wanted to put them on this page,
Right. Mm-hmm.
on this in this image, just
Mm-hmm.
because they've given back in terms of giving us
Ah,
workshops.
very nice.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and they contribute in the WhatsApp space with a lot of answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we are. So that's me. So I call myself the co-founder because I wasn't the only one
Yeah.
who sat under that tree, but I'm the only
Mm-hmm.
one who's free. So
Yeah.
I tend to be the face of the
Mm-hmm.
organization.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Opera is largely our MC when we do the workshops that we do. He's amazing in
Is
keeping
his
them going.
background radio? Or how did he get into it?
He's a podcaster
Yeah.
by passion, and he hosts a lot of MCs, a lot of things, and so he
Mm-hmm.
just fell into, yeah, and a
Okay.
voice actor,
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
burgeoning voice actor. Jazz is, as you can see, total creativity. She is the one who makes us look good, and she's a radio and TV presenter, has that background, and so she
Mm-hmm.
also keeps everything
Mm-hmm.
lively
Mm-hmm.
and colorful. Yeah, so that's us.
Well, that's very nice. I think down here, here's the information as to here's how to get in touch with you. Hello at
Yeah,
voiceactorsleague.africa, your phone
that's
number.
working. That's
And in my
working.
article on VoiceOver Extra, I will print this out too, but this is for everybody to see how to get in touch with you now.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah. Thank you.
Is there anything I have not asked you about voice acting in Africa or about your organization or whatever?
No, you've asked them. You have asked, and I think their answer. I think maybe just because I was thinking a lot about this call and about the bridges that because I think you had mentioned in your email or said that you'd like to support, and that's really big for us.
Good.
But and I'm wondering why my picture's so fuzzy. What is that? But yeah,
I
I
just
hope it works.
changed. I just changed the perspective. I stopped sharing so they could have changed something on your screen too.
Okay,
So
okay.
now we're seeing,
What's
I'm seeing you. Yep.
okay?
Well, this
Yeah,
has been wonderful. This is
thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. So this is the candid part, right?
Yeah.
That I don't really know. I mean, we have big ambitions, and one of them is to have some sort of exchange programs at some point.
Oh,
Where you guys come here, come to Africa and experience the sun, experience the equator.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and actually begin to train us, and so we can have, an in-person coaching session or three. Um, and the people who bubble up and show potential to the degree that it would be worth your while.
Hmm.
And by you, I mean the international community. Um, but other than that, to let it happen organically, like I don't know what will spin off from this
Hmm.
interview, being on Voice Over Extra.
This sounds like your life. Sounds like your career. It's one
Does
step
it?
to the next, and maybe you're not sure where it's going, but it's going
Yeah.
in nice directions. Well, that's very nice. Very
Yeah.
good. Jennifer, it's
So
wonderful to connect with you. I
thank
know we'll be
you.
staying in
You
touch.
too.
And
Mm-hmm.
anyone who contacts us in regards to you, we'll pass things along. Let's continue to share information. And I
Okay.
know we got in touch some time ago because you heard about VoiceOver Extra. Some of your members might be reading some of our articles too. So there's a good exchange there as well.
Yeah, that's right. John, I'll
Mhm.
send you another email address just to post in the article alongside the hello.
Sure, sure.
If
Go
that's
ahead.
okay, yeah. Just so for sure I get anything that possibly
Okay.
comes from the
Okay.
interview.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is that address that you want me to use?
Shall I type it in? It's it's the Voice Actors League, the one that
The
we've
voice
been
act, that's
communicating
the
on.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The
yeah,
hello.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Excellent. Okay. We'll do. Well,
No,
thank you
no,
so much. We'll go
the
ahead.
Gmail, the Gmail, the Gmail address as well.
Oh, the Gmail. Oh, okay. We'll do.
Yeah,
We'll do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
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 Well, thanks,
Good.
John.
Hey, one
Sure.
more question. Now, it's the end of the day for you. What was your day like
Mhm.
today? Did you do any voiceovers?
I did not do any voiceovers. I did well, I last night I did them and edited and sent them this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So
good.
I will do some. We're doing some productions
Hmm.
and I the booth is calling. So once I'm done with this, I'll go in and record that.
Thank you so much. Okay. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.